From VOA Learning English, this is the Economics Report in Special English. Americans are buying more products and services than ever before through the internet. And the popularity of online sales is likely to spread to other countries. Online sales now represent as much as 1/10 of all retail sales in the United States. Experts say online shopping hit records in both November and December. 57% of Americans have bought something electronically. This has led traditional stores to seek new ways to keep their customers loyal. Store owners worry continuing growth in online sales will hurt their business. Cornell University marketing professor Ed McLaughlin says they should be worried because any products that can be sold online will be. Ed McLaughlin says traditional stores can keep their customers by selling goods like clothing, which buyers may want to see and try on before purchasing. He says the stores could also offer things that are difficult to ship. He says some stores can please customers by offering to set up or repair electronic products. Bill Martin is the founder of ShopperTrack. His business helps stores learn about their customers. He told us that traditional stores offer a social experience that some people enjoy. He says there is still a lot of emotion in the buying decision, and it is hard to get that emotional feeling from shopping online. So there is still a place for brick and mortar stores. Bill Martin says traditional stores can provide goods to buyers faster than online businesses, and some retailers use their websites to persuade people to visit their stores. For VOA Learning English, I'm Laurel Bowman.
This is the VOA Special English Economics Report. Space Exploration Technologies, or SpaceX, may be a company to watch in the coming years. On Tuesday, May 22nd, SpaceX successfully launched its Falcon 9 rocket from Cape Canaveral in Florida. The privately built and owned Dragon spacecraft was loaded with more than 500 kilograms of supplies for the International Space Station. The Dragon linked up with the space station after a 3-day flight. America's National Aeronautics and Space Administration is moving to private companies for services like bringing supplies to the space station. NASA official Bill Gerstenmaier spoke to reporters after the launch. He said the space agency has already signed a contract with SpaceX for the company's services on 12 flights. The agreement is worth $1.6 billion. Mr. Gerstenmaier said the United States no longer pays Russia to carry out such operations. SpaceX is based in Hawthorne, California. Elon Musk started the company in 2002, but it is not the first company founded by the South African-born businessman. He also started the internet payment service PayPal, which is now owned by online auction store eBay. His other company, Tesla Motors, makes electric cars. Elon Musk has likened modern space travel to where internet technology was in the 1990s. At that time, businesses were just starting to think about how to sell goods and services on the World Wide Web. Today, billions of dollars in goods and services are sold online. But after the launch, Mr. Musk tried to keep his attention on the job at hand. He said the immediate goal for SpaceX is to bring supplies to the space station. After that, he thinks the company will work toward improving its rocket technology. He said a major development would be to make what he calls a full and rapidly reusable rocket. The Dragon spacecraft is designed to be able to carry both astronauts and cargo. SpaceX says it has 40 launches planned over the next few years and contracts worth $4 billion. It says 60% of its upcoming flights are for businesses, not the government. For VOA Special English, I'm Carolyn Presutti. You can read, listen, and learn English with more stories about business and other subjects at voaspecialenglish.com.
From VOA Learning English, this is the Economics Report. A court in Afghanistan recently sentenced former leaders of the country's first private bank to prison. The two men were found guilty of crimes that led to the failure of the Kabul bank in 2010. Some people say the 5-year prison sentences were not enough. The bank failure led to a financial crisis in Afghanistan. A special 3-judge committee of the Afghan Supreme Court decided the case. The court found Kabul Bank's former chairman, Sherhan Farnood, guilty of stealing $278 million. Former Chief Executive Officer Halilullah Ferozi was found guilty of stealing $530 million. The judge ordered the two men to repay the stolen money. The former bank officials have been under house arrest for more than a year. They were among 21 Kabul Bank and government employees who were tried and found guilty. The other defendants were given shorter sentences. All have the right to appeal. The case was considered a test of Afghanistan's new legal system and the government's will to fight corruption. The special court did not charge several other influential people linked to the bank as shareholders or borrowers. These people included a brother of President Hamid Karzai and a brother of the first vice president. The Afghan government rescued the bank and renamed it the new Kabul Bank. Nations that help support Afghanistan, led by the United States, have promised billions of dollars in aid after NATO forces withdraw by the end of 2014. But they are demanding that the government bring corruption under control. For VOA Learning English, I'm Alex Villarreal. This is the VOA Special English Economics Report. Mark Hurd got credit for building Hewlett-Packard into the world's largest technology company. HP is the top seller of personal computers and printers. It had sales last year of almost $115 billion. Mr. Hurd became Chief Executive Officer 5 years ago after HP ousted Carly Fiorina. Later, he also became chairman. Under his leadership, HP stock doubled in price. So the news out of Palo Alto, California in August came to many as a shock. Mark Hurd was out. Investigators said he had falsified expense records to hide spending on a woman who worked with HP. Reports said the amount was about $20,000. Mr. Hurd is married. He earned $24 million last year. In June, the former marketing contractor, Jody Fisher, accused Mr. Hurd of sexual harassment. Through her lawyer, she said she was surprised and saddened that he lost his job. She said they had settled her claim privately. The sometime actress also said they never had an intimate sexual relationship. HP and private investigators found no violation of the sexual harassment policy at the company. But they did find that Mr. Hurd violated HP's standards of business conduct. These suggest that before employees make a decision, they should consider how it would look in a news story. Sexual harassment is one of the areas of job discrimination investigated by the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. The federal agency received almost 13,000 harassment claims last year. That was down from over 15,000 10 years ago. Men now make close to 1/5 of the complaints. The agency finds reasonable cause in about half of all sexual harassment claims. HP is paying Mark Hurd $12 million plus millions more in stock options to leave. But his resignation was not the only exit from a job that was in the news. A flight attendant became an overnight folk hero on the internet. Steven Slater apparently argued with a passenger over baggage in the overhead bin. And once the flight landed in New York, he deployed the emergency slide and left the plane. Soon, there was a new expression: to hit the slide, to leave a job in a memorable way. But Steven Slater is in a lot of legal trouble, and details of exactly what happened on that JetBlue flight and how he acted were up in the air. And that's the VOA Special English Economics Report.
From VOA Learning English, this is the Economics Report in Special English. Can you think your way to wealth and success? Napoleon Hill believed that if you think the right thoughts, you can. In 1937, he published the book Think and Grow Rich. Napoleon Hill spent many years researching financial success and observing people who had become rich. Although it was published in the middle of the Great Depression, it was an immediate success. Think and Grow Rich remains one of the most popular nonfiction books ever written. Forbes magazine says it has sold 70 million copies since it first appeared and continues to sell today. Napoleon Hill wrote at least 10 other books about success before his death in 1970. None of Hill's books came close to selling as many copies as Think and Grow Rich. But for today's generation, Think and Grow Rich is now available in a different form. Smarter Comics has released an illustrated version of the book. Franco Arda is the company's founder and publisher. He used to work as an investment banker. He started the company 3 years ago with his own money. He wanted to create picture books that increase understanding. His versions provide much of the information that is in full-length books, but in an easy-to-understand picture or comic form. Franco Arda says readers will understand and remember more about gaining success if they read the comic book version of Think and Grow Rich. He says pictures make the book easier to remember. He says the book taught him to change the way he thinks about money and success. Smarter Comics says the book tells how wealth is a lifelong pursuit achieved by believing in the value of personal ideas. It says anyone can achieve their dreams by refusing to be stopped by temporary problems. For VOA Learning English, I'm Alex Villarreal.
From VOA Learning English, this is the Economics Report. The Ethiopian government and the United Nations Development Program, or UNDP, have launched a 3-year program. They plan to train more than 200,000 entrepreneurs. Government and UNDP officials say the businesses set up by these men and women could create more than 1 million jobs in Ethiopia. The country's Minister of Urban Development and Construction, Mikuria Haile, says Ethiopians need to change their way of thinking. He says that instead of looking for jobs, people need to become social and economic entrepreneurs who create jobs. The Ethiopian government and the UNDP are interested in people wanting to set up small and medium-sized companies. The development program is expected to cost $26 million. So far, the UNDP has supplied $6 million. The program is based on 4 main ideas: institutional development, entrepreneurship training, business development services, and partnerships. Eugene Owusu works in Ethiopia for the UNDP. He says more needs to be done to reduce bureaucratic rules and increase access to credit in the country. Ethiopia has one of the world's fastest growing economies, but it is 174th on the UNDP's Human Development Index. Human development has improved in Ethiopia during the past 20 years, but almost 1/3 of the people live in poverty. And the need for jobs and economic growth is urgent. In Africa, Ethiopia's population is second only to Nigeria. And Prime Minister Haile Mariam Desalegn says a majority of the country is under the age of 25. For VOA Learning English, I'm Carolyn Presutti.
This is the VOA Special English Economics Report. BlackBerry service is facing limits or bans in some countries over the issue of government access to information on its network. Research in Motion, or RIM, makes BlackBerry communications devices. The company is based in Waterloo, Canada. BlackBerry has 46 million users worldwide. They run on the company's network and secure software. In August, the United Arab Emirates announced it would block BlackBerry email, web browsing, and instant messenger services on October 11th. The UAE says the services are a threat to national security because government officials cannot access or monitor users' information. Then, Saudi Arabia threatened to block BlackBerry service in August. But later, a telecommunications official reportedly said it would allow service to continue in the country because of positive developments. These moves renew concern among some people about efforts by the UAE and Saudi Arabia to control the flow of information. Both countries have banned some forms of media seen as harming national security. The ban in the UAE could affect 500,000 BlackBerry users. Saudi Arabia has about 700,000 users. Kuwait and Lebanon are also said to be considering restrictions. But Middle Eastern countries are not the only ones seeking greater access to BlackBerry information. India and China are among other countries also doing so. Governments, big corporations, and individuals use BlackBerry devices because they are highly secure. Users' communications are sent to servers overseas, mostly in Canada, using powerful security measures. RIM says its system is set up in a way that no one, including RIM, can access user information. The company also says it does not matter where their servers are based. Communications are made secure the moment they leave the BlackBerry device through encryption. Secretary of State Hillary Clinton said the United States will hold talks with the UAE and other countries about possible bans on BlackBerry services. She said the United States knows there are reasonable security concerns about the service. But she added that there is also a right of free use and access. And that's the VOA Special English Economics Report. You can find transcripts, MP3s, and podcasts on our website, voaspecialenglish.com. You can also find us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube at VOA Learning English.